The Himyarites emerged in what is now modern-day Yemen, around 110 BCE. They succeeded earlier South Arabian kingdoms like Saba and Qataban, gradually establishing themselves as a dominant power in the southern Arabian peninsula. But what made the Himyarites truly remarkable wasn't just their survival, it was their ability to expand their influence over centuries, shaping the history of Arabia. The Himyarite kingdom initially began as a tribal confederation in the highlands of Yemen. Their early society was structured around agriculture, particularly the cultivation of the fertile lands irrigated by advanced terrace systems. These terraces, fed by seasonal rains and ingenious water management, allowed the Himyarites to sustain a growing population and develop a strong economic base. Trade was another pillar of their rise. Situated along the incense trade routes, the Himyarites controlled the flow of frankincense and myrrh, luxury goods that were highly prized in Rome, Greece, and Egypt. By dominating these trade networks, they accumulated wealth that funded both military expansion and cultural development. By the 1st century CE, the Himyarites had absorbed neighboring territories, including Qataban and Hadramaut. This consolidation of power marked the beginning of a more organized state, capable of projecting influence beyond its mountainous. One of the defining features of the Himyarite Empire was its ability to unite disparate tribes under a central authority. Leaders such as Shammar Yahrish, who ruled in the early 3rd century CE, were instrumental in this process. He not only strengthened internal governance, but also expanded Himyarite influence across southern Arabia. Military strategy was key. The Himyarites maintained disciplined armies and utilized their knowledge of the harsh Arabian terrain to their advantage. They often formed alliances with neighboring kingdoms or leveraged internal conflicts to assert control. By the 4th century CE, Himyar had become the preeminent power in southern Arabia, stretching from the Tahama coast along the Red Sea to the highlands. While military might secured their land, it was trade that truly amplified Himyarite power. The Himyarites established strong commercial ties with the Mediterranean, East Africa, and India. Ports along the Red Sea, like Khan and Zafar, became bustling hubs of international trade. Ships carried not just incense and spices, but also textiles, precious metals, and exotic animals. By controlling both overland and maritime trade routes, the Himyarites could dictate terms with foreign merchants and neighboring states alike. Their wealth allowed them to build impressive fortifications, develop urban centers, and invest in cultural and religious institutions, further cementing their influence. Religion also played a role in Himyarite expansion. Early on, the Himyarites practiced a polytheistic faith common to South Arabia. By the late 4th and 5th centuries CE, there was a significant shift. Judaism gained prominence among the Himyarite elite. Some scholars suggest that this religious change strengthened ties with Jewish communities in the Mediterranean, enhancing both trade networks and diplomatic influence. Culturally, the Himyarites were known for their inscriptions in the South Arabian script, monumental architecture, and water engineering projects. These achievements not only demonstrated their sophistication, but also helped integrate newly conquered territories, creating a shared identity across Despite their successes, the Himyarite Empire faced challenges. Internal divisions, competition for trade dominance, and external pressures from the Aksumite kingdom in Ethiopia eventually weakened their control. In the 6th century CE, after a series of conflicts and invasions, the Himyarite state fell, paving the way for the rise of Islam in the region. However, the legacy of the Himyarites endured. Their innovations in agriculture, trade, and governance influenced subsequent Arabian societies. Their story illustrates how a relatively small kingdom, through strategic trade, military acumen, and cultural adaptation, could rise to regional prominence in the ancient world. In conclusion, the Himyarite Empire reminds us that history is not just about empires in the Mediterranean or Mesopotamia. It's also about these remarkable civilizations that mastered their environment, built networks of trade and influence, and left an enduring mark on the region. The rise and expansion of the Himyarites is a story of ingenuity, resilience, and ambition. A story that continues to fascinate historians,